Hello, beautiful soul. Ascension is often portrayed as something very prestigious in spiritual communities. Ascension, awakening, or enlightenment put upon the altar of godliness and reserved only for the special ones. We often are caught in another loop of the spiritual ego that thinks I have to deserve enlightenment, I have to be good to ascend, or I have to be healed to awaken, and the stories go on with no end in sight. From my experience, ascension is rather a common experience, and not an exclusive one reserved only for those who in their ego mind portray themselves as spiritual. Every living being, every soul on this planet at this time is ascending, whether they are conscious of it or not. Energies from the eternal unconditional light of our descent directly from the source are washing over everybody. The sun cannot ever choose upon whom it will release its warmth and light. But some of us do not see the sun still, and this is okay. Consciousness always yearns and strives to balance the scale of your life and gives you everything you need for the utmost evolution of your being. Same goes for the collective field of energy. Enlightenment is not an experience, but it goes beyond experience. Consciousness only observes the one having the experience, without any judgment and opinion. Being awake is a clear mirror without reflection. There is nothing to reflect anymore. There is no doer, just the eternal observer. One of the illusions of spirituality is when an individual thinks that they are doing something to enlighten themselves. Ascension happens and is a gift of grace that accompanies an open heart that is ready to throw away all knowledge. Awakening is a very simple phenomenon, and if you try to grasp it, you have already lost it. All you need to do is stay humble and relax, and not engage in the ego stories that can take many forms to keep you in bondage. When you are in an enlightened state, this does not mean you don't have an ego, but rather that your ego is completely integrated and in service of the reign of your soul. The sheep and the lion will sit together. In my understanding, this is what Master Teacher Jesus meant with this statement. The lion being your soul and the sheep your ego. Being in an awakened state of mind is not living in an illusion, but being conscious about the self and the world you live in. Being in the state of no separation, in the state of oneness and unity consciousness. From my perspective, we are capable only of spiritual life, because all life is spiritual, regardless of what your circumstances look like. An awakened state of soul is not a state where you escape everyday life in search of some special or higher feeling, method, or technique, but rather a complete surrender to everyday life and moments you have in front of you, and seeing the divinity in all of them. And if you truly surrender to life, the collapse of the matrix can happen in a second. Consciousness emerges from the depth of your sleep, and as you slowly awaken, you start to connect the dots and see the whole image. The only way the society will change is when it contains many strong awakened individuals. Awakening is not a horizontal line on which you have a destination at which to arrive, but it is a vertical spiral of forever in the process of becoming more of your divine self. All is well, beautiful soul. Just don't engage in your ego, whether you label it and turn it into unearthly and bad or spiritual and good. It's all an illusion. Stay conscious that you are not anything you think, but rather your consciousness observing the one that thinks is separate from itself. You are consciousness itself, exploring a small part of a dream you call yourself. Stay grounded, stay conscious, stay present. And until next time, I am sending you much peace and love.